triumph in the trap.
This is for the dollar.
Do you believe in miracles?
Ay, I play chess, but only in 4D. I'm by myself, but they think I'm 4D. When they see me online, they think they know me. Go ahead, like and subscribe, you gotta show me. I applied pressure and they tried to reject it. Clearly ain't see I was a diamond, so they didn't accept it. Told me I was a failure, so I said F it. Might even start my own school and teach them a lesson. Yeah, I'ma call it South Harmon. Fly down south and get the South poppin'. One day I'ma give you a walkthrough and introduce you to this warp tool. I know you lost, that's just dynasty talk. Cause you can't start no franchise without no dynasty chart. I took a break from the game, nicked on my dynasty stock. Till I came back like Wembanyama, I feel like Coach Pop. I can't say that I'm the GOAT, cause you ain't gonna agree. But if I own my own farm, I can make the GOAT. Me, the ladies love the beard and they used to love the goatee. That's when I was a lamb, burning music on CDs. I wasn't born in 88, December 87, that was 16 days away. Might fly to Dallas, why not? I just got paid today. When I land this dirt statue, I came to fade away. Check the timeline for the stories and the play-by-play. My life a Patreon link, you gotta pay to play. I work 16 hours, boy, that's an 8 and 8. X Factor like Dez Bryant, my boy 88. Why dream light when you living like a heavyweight? This ain't a 1 week thing, we grind like every day. They know my destination, Devi, like I hang with Ray. If they ain't know my name, I bet they know my name today. Treat this mic like an ATM, let's make a trade today. Drop this on Fizzle Friday, cause that's my favorite day. And I'm gon' do it my way, cause that's my favorite way. They tried to put me on the shelf like I'm layaway. Told me it ain't no way, so I made a way. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. I'm glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. I'm glad you here today. Hit that Patreon link if you here to stay, Treat this mic like an ATM, let's make a trade today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to America's Game, episode number 8. I am your host, Eric Vanek, and you can follow me on Twitter at Eric Vanek NFL, and also the show's podcast as well on Twitter at America's Game Pod. And once again, I am joined by the 4D boys, Adam and Mike. Adam, Mike, what's going on?
What up, E? How you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Let's get it, man. America's Game. Always exciting to get back into America's Game.
Oh, yeah. Your boy got a new job this morning, so everything's just, woo, we're floating.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Floating. No more nights. No more frantic text messages to you guys being like, can you find somebody else? Because, I'm working at 8 p.m. tonight. Whatever.
I thought you got the night job.
No night jobs.
Oh, so you're not bouncing at the strip club?
No, unfortunately, not yet.
Man.
No, we're working on that.
I was hoping for like some free vouchers for free lap dances or something.
Yeah, not a lot of first shift bouncer positions. Not a lot of Monday through Friday bouncer spots. I don't know why.
If you could cook, you can maybe get a job in the kitchen there. Make some
lemon pepper wings.
Those businessmen who come for the free or the wing deal on Tuesday afternoon.
Magic City stuff, you know?
That's what Pac-Man used to go. Pac-Man, that's why he was always at the strip club. He's like, yeah, I was going there for some lunch.
I can hang out with Lou Williams and
I was just saying Lou Williams from the COVID days, right? He got in trouble for leaving the bubble to go home for a family matter, but then they found out he was at Magic City.
He is.
So he went for the wings.
The wings are good, though.
Wings are good, man. They're expensive as hell, but they're good.
It's like what you can get.
Yeah, it's like I went to a restaurant recently. It's like $25 for like a dozen now. I'm like, Jesus. I got to take a loan out just to buy wings.
Prime rib wings.
Right.
Prime chicken. Wagyu chicken.
Right. Oh, man. All right. So anyways, let's get into it here. I first wanted to talk about, man, this is unfortunate news of Nick Chubb, man. This, for me and Adam, especially being Browns fans, it just felt like somebody just took their foot and just kicked me in the balls over and over and over and over and over for like an hour straight. So
Yeah.
man, it was terrible.
Yeah, honestly, if you tell me that we're gonna have a Nick Chubb injury, or win versus Steelers, I'm taking like I'll absolutely lose to the Steelers. I don't want to have Nick Chubb go out. So before we even lost to the Steelers, it felt like we lost to the Steelers, and then we actually did lose to the Steelers. So it was a rough night, man. But this is now moving forward in Dynasty. It's I mean, that one hurts for Browns fans, but people that had him anywhere, it's though there's only a certain number of players where you lose a guy like him, and you got to have a plan, but it feels like you're just not going to be able to replace him.
Exactly. I made a trade just today actually with Scott. I gave up a second and a fourth and Jameis Winston, and I got Kareem Hunt and Ford. He had them both. So just gonna take that risk with both of them, and it's a league where you start 13, so I can start them both if I want to, just to kind of see how it happens there. So I kind of took that risk for the rest of the season. We'll see how it shakes out, but yeah, I was kind of just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the whole Chubb injury, and what are you guys doing with him now in Dynasty?
So for me, one, you feel so bad for him, and I know you guys are Browns fans, so you guys feel a little bit worse than I do. I was like, oh man, what a devastating injury, and I really like Nick Chubb too, and he was one. If you remember, Adam, I was pushing a lot last year with the way the Browns were, that I was like, man, Nick Chubb could be in line for an RB1 overall finish this year with a full Deshaun Watson, the whole thing, and to see it cut short like that, and to be completely honest, after it happened, and you kind of digest and you feel bad for him, you think about, all right, where do I have him in Dynasty? And how screwed am I? And the two teams I had him on, I go, man, they're contenders. I could have really used them. But then you think about, like, what do you do next? And for me, it was, this is probably a career ender. Like, it's even if he comes back from it, like, he's going to be older. He's going to have two major significant knee injuries under his belt. It's the way the running back position is. So if you were selling J.K. Dobbins for any third, if you were selling, any fourth, any fab, whatever, I'm kind of in the same boat. I just sell Nick Chubb for whatever the hell I can get off of him, and good luck to anybody who takes him on. Like, I'm not buying any shares. I'm getting rid of the two that I have, and I'll take pretty much whatever the hell I can get. The other part, like the shitty part of me from a dynasty standpoint too, and from best ball, all those underdog drafts you did, and you go, man, Kareem Hunt might be back. Like, Kareem Hunt might actually be on a team, and here we are back with the Browns, and all your Kareem Hunt shares that you've been stashing or holding on to all of a sudden look pretty damn good. Not the fact that he's a really good running back anymore. Kind of remains to be seen how he's going to be used and how he produces, but you look at it and you go, well, at least he's on a team. He's got life. Any RB on a 53, he's going to have a role. He's going to have something. So not a complete zero, which for the first couple of weeks was actually looking like a realistic possibility, right? You had the reports of Kareem Hunt being, fat, 260 pounds, whatever it was, out of shape. And you were starting to panic and sweat a little bit. And it was getting down to the point whether or not you drop this guy off your roster. So good for him being back. Horrible news for Nick Chubb being out. And for me watching it, it was that Willis McGahee 2002 national championship game all over again. And you just go, ugh. I know McGahee came back from it, but there's a big difference between coming back from when you're, 19, 20 years old versus, where Nick Chubb is and already having one devastating injury. So feels bad for him, but the simple dynasty, the cold-hearted dynasty advice is, trade him. Get whatever the hell you can out of him.
Let me give you a live on-air America's Game trade I just made.
Yeah.
And you guys tell me what you think. 1-for-1 traded away my Nick Chubb and received back Khalil Herbert in a best ball league.
Easy smash for you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm surprised that actually got done. I'm surprised somebody.
It was in my inbox.
No.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, because I'm kind of with Mike on this. Like, you kind of just sell them for anything you can get. If somebody's willing to give you a 20, 25 second, here you go. You can have Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Third, I don't know if I'd do it for a fourth, but I'd probably just hold on to him at that point and just see what happens. Like, maybe there's a minor miracle, but
for a fourth, you could
don't mean
probably.
anything.
Yeah, for a fourth, you might want to say, you know what, like, I'll just hope and pray, knowing that there's probably not going to be a resurgence from him, but you're only getting a fourth. But I'm pretty much. I do think like there's a certain point where you always talk about with players, like I'm willing to bet on like this guy's just an enigma of talent. But I mean, you talk about how old he is and how devastating this knee injury is. I mean, they're talking about one of his, I need Jeff Mueller on the show or somebody else to Dr. B. Harris, one of his like arteries was exposed. They had to get him right away, and it's going to take a lot of recovery for him. And at his age, it's just not even as good as in talent as I think he is. It's not something I want to bet on, really at any type of cost, honestly.
Yeah. There was I want to say in the 2010 somewhere, there was the Bears tight end that happened to in the back of the end zone. I think it was in Detroit. I think it was Zach Miller.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it was Zach Miller, or I believe it was. But he messed up his knee pretty bad, and he had to get rushed to the hospital because I think he had that same thing that happened to him. He almost lost his leg, or I don't know if it was his life, but I think it was his leg from that. But they got him right in and got him all situated. Thank God that didn't happen for Chubb, but it sounds like he's going to need 2 surgeries. So, man, I didn't like playing next year. I think that's almost out of the question. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, awesome.
It won't likely be early in the year either.
Yeah, he's definitely going on the 6-week pup list or 4-week, whatever it is now. He's definitely going on that. And then I think he has to 21 days after that. So
yeah.
So Adam, what are you doing with Nick Chubb in your leagues if you have him? I mean, we heard from Mike there what he's doing. What about you?
Yeah, so I mean, I just moved Herbert I got Herbert for Chubb there in that one league. I think outside of like scenario, Khalil Herbert, right? I'd take either Herbert. I'd take any Herbert, honestly, at this point. I think Mike, and he talked about this. It's really you're trying to get whatever you can for him. Personally, for me, I think I would move him for any type of third. I'm probably with Eric on a fourth. I might just say like, I don't know. I don't want to move him for that. But I will say this: the big problem for me is in a lot of my best ball leagues, I don't want to burn a spot on him. So, like, it's more critical to move him, I feel like, in best ball, especially when you want to have all those spots not tied up with something. So, I'd probably even get down into the muck. Like, can I trade him for some of these third receivers? Like, can I get a receiver? Some people are really down on Josh Palmer. Can I do something like that? Can I get any type of receiver that's a body out there into my team in a best ball format? I think would be the other pivot for me.
Okay, that's fair enough. The other guy I wanted to talk about, though, obviously, with last week, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. He's going to be out for the season. So he's kind of in the same boat here with Nick Chubb.
Yep.
In Superflex leagues, I've seen people, selling Rodgers and stuff, too. I think I kind of want to buy Rodgers on the cheap if I can in the Superflex league, and I'll just hold him for a year. I'm fine with that. But what would you guys be willing to buy him for and sell him for?
Best ball leagues, if I'm not competing, I'm with you. Like, having him as a dart probably ain't the worst thing in the world. If I'm on a contender, though, I get rid of his ass immediately for anything. It's kind of the Nick Chubb, J.K. Dobbins approach. Like, I just need something. I need whatever. Lineup leagues where you could stash him on IR or something like that, I'm not as, like, inclined to get rid of him immediately. Right, I'll probably just stash him on my IR, even if I'm a competing team. But I think that's probably the biggest difference between best ball and lineup. Where best ball, if you're competing, I don't have the roster spots available to put on an IR quarterback. Like I need something. Third, give me a third. Even if it's like one of these other speculative quarterbacks, where I have the possibility of maybe them playing later in the year. Aiden O'Connell, like one of those kind of guys. Like I'll move on for that and just get rid of Rodgers. But I'm kind of with you, E. If I'm not competing in a best ball, like perfect. It's an extra tank piece. It's an extra piece that's not scoring me points. If he comes back, he's probably going to be worth more than whatever I paid for him. But that's a bet I'm willing to make. Like right now, it's easy.
Yeah, I think I would say I would not spend a second probably on him anywhere. That's a hard cutoff for me. I think at a third round price, though, in Superflex, I'd be willing to do it. I think the biggest point is going to be, though, understanding your roster. Like in lineup, I'm pretty much willing to stash him and even probably pay a third, a fourth for sure for Rodgers, and just the stash, because the idea for me there is, competing or not, I can put him on IR, and then I can basically just wait and hope that there's a value bump. And if I lose out on a third, I'm cool. If I lose out on a fourth, I'm cool. I mean, I'm gonna make errors like that already, and I'm probably gonna get values like that back by trading throughout the season. So in lineup, I'm definitely with you, Eric. I'm going to buy, stash, and try to flip. He'll just go right into my quarterback horde I already have going. So he can fit right in with all those guys. But the best ball approach, if I'm rebuilding, I'm probably willing to take him on because I get another roster spot filled. But at the same time, I'm not. If I'm rebuilding, I'm not aggressively going after Rodgers, because like I'll if there's someone that really wants to get off of him because they don't have the roster spots, I'll try to get him something cheap back. If I'm competing with Rodgers is the tough part in best ball, because I think the problem is I've seen a lot of people not be able to move Rodgers for much, and at that point, like, he almost becomes, I don't want to say he becomes the same as Chubb or Dobbins because they're so minimally valued. I feel like even if Rodgers is going to have a period of time where there's a little bit of value bump back guaranteed to him, but he's so old that you can't really afford to hold him. So I would be taking back whatever I could get that's not complete dog shit. Like, I don't want a fourth back. I'm not going to be able to buy nothing with that. It's really not doing anything for me other than freeing up a roster spot. But if I can pivot again to a kind of a crusty ass turd receiver, I'm good with that. Something like that, even a running back. But I don't just want to completely move on from him in in best ball. But the problem is you're probably not getting, some significant piece, and you can't afford to hold him.
Yeah, if I can buy him for a third, I think I definitely would. I got to make those offers out there in some of my Superflex leagues. But yeah, best ball, if you're a contender, I get it. It's hard to keep him. You want to fill that roster spot so you have, a shot at, a Diami Brown going off one week, Josh Palmer, like you guys mentioned, somebody like that going off for 1 week, then having a zero for 16, 17 weeks with Aaron Rodgers. So I get it.
Exactly.
But I just think, like, in a Superflex league, man, just even having that extra quarterback, even if he's your third quarterback going into next year, like, that's a hell of a third quarterback to still have. I mean, we don't really have too many quarterbacks that have come off the Achilles injury to kind of like even compare this to, really. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I think, just me personally, I'm just such a fan of Aaron Rodgers that I'd be willing to do it and just say, F it, I'm going to go for it, see how he turns it out. So I was just kind of curious to see what you guys thought. I'm going to kind of look here at keep trade cut really quick, because I know Rodgers was way down last week, and I just kind of wanted to see where he moved to now. He is now at quarterback 42, so they have like Gardner Minshew, Sam Darnold, Josh Dobbs above him. So that just tells me, like, I can buy him for any third, and that's a fair price if people are looking at this keep trade cut. So that's interesting.
It's kind of weird. That's probably the only spot where best ball rosters are reflected correctly. Right. Like, if I'm a best ball contender, I take any one of those quarterbacks before Aaron Rodgers, to be honest, right now.
Well, I was going to say, with Rodgers, I think this is, on America's Game, we got to at least acknowledge this part. He went to Dr. E, and Dr. E's notorious for getting Cam Akers back in the Super Bowl in the playoff run, and there's already talks of, it sounds crazy. Now, Akers did have his in June, so there was more time, but there's whispers of this guy's wanting to return if they're in the playoffs, and I don't
keep fucking whispering. It ain't happening.
Well, they said that about Cam. I'm not gonna say it's happening, but I think it's wishful thinking for a guy as old as him. But apparently, Dr. E knows how to do the surgery and make a quicker recovery.
Maybe if Mike White was in there, but with Zach Wilson in there, that shit ain't happening.
Get the fuck out of here.
Playoffs.
Thompson's backup quarterback.
I love it. But really, the bigger point for Rodgers, though, there is not, by the time he comes back, he ain't playing for our fantasy teams anyway. But if he is actually like healthy enough to, even if he doesn't return to the playoffs, or if he could be healthy enough to where the offseason might actually be not as he may be doing drills and stuff in the offseason. He might be a part of the team. So that's actually a something to keep in mind as well.
And then looking at keep trade cut for Chubb, he's at RB 44. So the guys around him are like A.J. Dillon, Raheem Mostert, Zach Moss. And behind him is Antonio Gibson, Josh Kelly, Cam Akers, Dalvin Cook. So that just shows you how bad Akers and Dalvin are, that they're still even behind Nick Chubb. I'm sure this hasn't like fully updated yet, but kind of interesting those guys are behind him.
I would take Akers or Dalvin Cook in a heartbeat for
yeah,
Nick
I think
Chubb.
I would too. Yeah. Even Antonio Gibson, even though he sucks.
Even him, I'm with you. Even that guy.
Fucking shots, man.
But
all
yeah,
it's I wore that shirt, ain't it? It's all because I wore the throwing bombs and banging mom shirt.
No, I mean, it's just so hard with Chubb. I'm just such a fan of him, obviously being with the Browns. But yeah, I mean, he's just gonna be down in this range, and these guys are worth third-round picks, if that. Maybe some of them could maybe get you a higher pick, but yeah, it's gonna be really tough with Chubb and Rodgers both. I mean, if you could buy those guys for thirds. Well, maybe not Chubb, but at least Rodgers. I think that's worth it. Chubb, I think I'm with you guys. I kind of let it be somebody else's problem because coming back from 2 knee injuries, like significant knee injuries in the same knee, I mean, like 5% chance he comes back and is what he was.
Oh yeah, that might even be high. The thing is, we don't even have a like official. Do you guys have the official diagnosis, like what all was torn? Like
it hasn't
the fact
come
that
out
we weren't able to see the play, they wouldn't let us see the play right away. They're still not like exact. Like we don't have the exact. I feel in my heart it's one of those gut feelings like this is just bad. This is not going to be something that's recovering quickly from.
Yeah, well, from speculative stuff from Jeff Mueller on Twitter. So it sounds like if they're saying that he's going to need 2 surgeries, so what Jeff was saying, let me pull it up really quick from what Jeff was saying. But I think it was a interesting look at it to see what Jeff thinks about it. Let's pull it up here. So if he's going to need the 2 surgeries, he's going to, they're going to have to wait for the swelling to go down and all that first. He says likely repair the meniscus first and then go through the physical training for that. The second surgery would be to reconstruct the ACL. Doing it in 2 surgeries helps reduce risk of scar tissue developing with the immobilization during meniscus repair. Think J.K. Dobbins with his scar tissue injuries, that he was having the issues with that. So that's kind of what Jeff is thinking, but I would be honestly shocked if all that he tore was his meniscus and ACL. Like,
Agreed.
I'm expecting, like, the way that it would, if people did see the video or how it looked, like, I'm fully expecting, like, Teddy Bridgewater, like, blew out, like, 4 ligaments and his meniscus and, like, just dislocated kneecap and all that stuff. Like, I'm expecting, like, the absolute worst. So if he only got away with an ACL and meniscus tear, then he is extremely lucky. But I highly doubt that he got away with just that.
I agree with you.
It looked like everything.
Yeah.
that's
A breaking of all of it, yeah.
I mean, ACL, MCL, PCL, LCL, meniscus, dislocated kneecap. It looked like everything to me. So we'll see. Hopefully good news for Chubb that it's not as bad as we think it is, but it's definitely going to be pretty bad once we finally get it.
I can actually honestly say that I went through something similar, right? Like I tore everything in my knee. Not to the extent like where it was a flamingo, but it popped enough where I tore my LCL, PCL, ACL. The back half of my meniscus was gone and fractured my femur just because I thought I was going to be a rec center all-star in basketball one time. Like that's how that worked out. So,
damn.
Yeah, that was a long road to recovery, and I'm not an NFL football player who's got to go out there.
I was going to say that's why you didn't play tight end at Iowa.
Yeah, well, I'm also only 6 foot tall, right? Like I got the,
Well, isn't LaPorta too?
Nah, come on, man. That dude's 6'3". I got the Delaney Walker size. It should have been a fullback.
Right. All right. Well, next topic I wanted to bring up after all that sad topics of Aaron Rodgers and Chubb is the topic of these guys that are just overperforming our expectations this year and kind of get what you guys would be willing to trade for them. So first one I'm going to start off with here is Kyron Williams. Obviously, he's taken over the starting backfield there for the Rams. He's having himself quite a season so far. If you've had him in best ball, he's probably carried your teams. I know I've had him quite a bit on my best ball teams, kind of carrying me. So, what are your guys' thoughts on Kyren Williams? Because right now he's RB 18 on Keep Trade Cut. They have him above Damian Pierce, Aaron Jones, Rashad White, Joe Mixon. Like, I think that's a little high for me, but I don't know. Let's see what you guys think.
I'll send a second pretty easily. And
Yeah.
I say that from a contender lens. Obviously, I'm not sending seconds for running backs on a rebuilder, but second for sure. That's pretty easily. And if I got to tack a third on, kind of league dependent. Best ball, I'm a little bit more hesitant because I like to use those thirds for those dart throw wide receivers and just depth. But lineup leagues, especially if I got to throw a third on, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I'm sending a second easily as well. I think, I'll answer the question that I'm going to ask is what's not to like? The only thing that's not to like is draft capital. And so it feels, for people, it's going to feel insecure. Like, something else could come along and take him out of the cards as this feature back. Okay, so what is that going to be? Zach Evans? This team's not going out and acquiring a running back, right? And
Zach Evans had worse draft capital.
Right. But that's my point. Like, there's no draft capital on the team. I don't think the Rams are in a position to go spend more draft capital on a running back. Akers is disgruntled again, and seemingly this time out of the way. I don't know that. Who knows, honestly, at this point. But I'm not projecting any association in Cam Akers coming back, because even when he was there, he's taken 30% of the workload. What's not to like? This is a guy that has 3-down ability. The only thing we don't like is the draft capital and the combine numbers. The combine numbers become a lot more irrelevant when I go see you perform on the football field, right? So he's doing that. He's trusted in pass pro. He's a good receiving back. He's game script proof, guys. Like, if they're trailing, this team is going to check the ball down to him in all these type of situations, because they can only throw the ball to Puka Nacua 20 times this game, and they're not going to do more. 20 attempts, and then that's, another whatever to be had by everyone else. And Kyron's carving out the opportunities in the receiving department. He's getting the goal line work. He's getting the carries. I don't want to sound like the Kyren Williams homer here, but like, what is not to like about this guy other than injury risk, which every single player has, especially at running back, and draft capital problems? Like, I absolutely would love to have more Kyren Williams, and to tell you the truth, this is a double-edged sword, because all my love and everything I'm seeing is what was supposed to be Cam Akers, and all my Cam Akers shares are toast. So I don't have much Kyren. I'm watching him thrive in what I thought was Cam Akers' role, but this is wheels up for Kyren Williams, man. The only thing in his way is, I think, an injury.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Myles Gaskin when he took over in Miami a couple years ago. Like, Myles Gaskin was drafted in the 7th round. There wasn't really anybody else there. He took it over. Kind of feels like the same for Kyren. They're kind of the same player. They can do some of the receiving work. The rushing work isn't bad. Like, I think in PPR leagues, Kyren Williams should be pretty good this year. I'm not expecting him to get 50 catches, but if he can get me 35, 40 catches, I think I'm pretty okay with that. I don't think he's going to get 1,000 yards, but the dude's been a hammer on the goal line. He's gotten, I think, 2 or 3 touchdowns so far. He had 2 last week. So, yeah, if you had Kyren Williams on your bench, or you picked him up off of waivers in your redraft league or whatever, he's been great this year. Like I said, I've mentioned it a couple times on this podcast, going back to Adam Schefter's tweet last year, that week 1 game. He was kind of supposed to be the guy over Cam Akers then, and then he got hurt on a kickoff play to start the game, and just wasn't the same after that. But they've always trusted him. They've always liked him. And, hey, that's all you can kind of ask for right now. And they're not going to be signing Leonard Fournette or, obviously not Kareem Hunt now. They're going to be signing these guys to come take his spot. I think it's Kyren Williams for the rest of the year. So I agree with you guys. Lineup, best ball, I'll give up a second. And if I got to kick in, a third or a player that's worth a 3rd-round pick, I think I'm absolutely doing it to get Kyren Williams. So I agree with you.
I think his floor is kind of like Belial Powell from a few years ago, right? More than a few years ago, but like mid 2010s. Right?
Yeah, he's a solid RB2 that you can start weekly. Yeah.
Right. And you at least have that as a floor, right, going forward. And your ceiling could be a James White type that was actually used in the passing game or used in the running game, right? A little bit more inverse instead of Tom Brady dumping it off all the time. Maybe James White actually got some more carries. So pretty good player to kind of get in on, especially if you're going to get that kind of opportunity. And that's all we really need to chase at the running back position's opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. The next one I wanted to bring up is obviously probably the hottest name in fantasy football right now, and that's Puka Nacua. And holy moly, he is wide receiver 20 on Keep Trade Cut. He's above Christian Watson, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, George Pickens, Jahan Dotson, Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore. Like, what are you guys doing with Puka Nacua if you have him and if you were going to try and trade for him?
At this point, Eric, man, if these are the names you're talking about, like this is a screaming sell.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I'm just going to play the process. I am.
Yeah.
I think it's a conversation, whether Puka's worth a first or not. And if that's the conversation, I'll just take the first and I'll go with the process play. But you also got to think about it. Like, props to him. He's playing extremely well. He's getting a ton of work. But it's a prospect that not a lot of people were in on. It's a probably bad bet and an outlier if he does hit, which is completely fine. I mean, we've seen those hit before. Amon-Ra was an outlier after draft capital and his combine. So understandable. But this is also the kind of player where they start like this and people get over their skis on him. And the first time Cooper Kupp comes back and Puka gets 3 targets and Kupp's out there getting 15, his value goes back in the shitter again, immediately. Like, just as fast as the meteoric rise has been, the fall can be just as fast. So if these are the kind of assets that we're talking about, it doesn't matter if it's Puka or what you feel about him personally. If this is the case, I'll just take the profit and I'll get out. And, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm not missing by much.
Adam, what about you?
I'm kind of curious your take here, Eric, because I'm actually pulling up a couple things to solidify the point I need to or want to try to make, because this is a convoluted one. This is really convoluted. So I'm kind of curious your thought first.
Sure. I mean, if I can get any of these guys that I mentioned, Christian Watson, Adams, Pickens, Dotson, I'm sending them away for sure. I'm trying to think. I'd rather have the draft pick, to be honest. If I can get a first round pick for him, I just don't know how many people are going to be willing to give up a 2024 first round pick straight up for him right now, because that would be a hell of a profit on a guy you'd probably drafted in late round 3, round 4 in your rookie drafts this year, or maybe even somebody you got off of waivers. So I have a hard time seeing somebody giving up their first round pick, but if I can get a second, 2 seconds, a second, and a player that's worth a second, I think that's kind of where I'm going to lean in all leagues. Best ball lineup. If I can get that kind of a value, I will. But if people are looking at Keep Trade Cutting, and you guys know your leagues better than I would, hey, if I can go offer Puka Nacua for Christian Watson or Devontae Adams, even Cooper Kupp, like, I'm going to go, offer him straight up for one of those guys. And if I can't get the picks, I'd rather have one of those guys than probably the picks.
So for you guys, we got this tool on our website, Sleepier, all your Sleepier leagues. And the one cool thing is once you input your name, you can go and you can see everybody that you play in leagues with and their leagues, and it gets you this massive umbrella of trades that happen. And you can search by individual players. So I'll read you guys off some trades that have happened recently with Puka Nacua.
Okay, cool.
24 first and a 25 second for George Pickens and Puka Nacua. We got Puka Nacua for Josh Downs and a 26 first round pick. We got Puka Nacua for Rashad White and a 24 second. We got Puka Nacua and a third for 226 seconds. We got Puka for 224 seconds. We got Tony Pollard and Puka for A.J. Brown and a 24 fourth. That one's got too many fucking pieces. That one as well. How about this?
I saw him go for a second and third in one of my leagues, too.
Ooh, Kyle Pitts and Puka Nacua for Calvin Ridley and Cole Kmet.
Kyle Pitts and what was it?
Puka.
For Ridley and Kmet? Oh, wow.
Right.
Interesting.
Puka for Trey Palmer in a 24 first.
Okay.
There's a
Puka.
handful of those, Mike. I actually want the Puka side on a handful of those.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, same.
Right. But just kind of give you an idea. Puka in the third for Desmond Ridder. Probably take Puka, to be honest.
Yeah, kind of out on Desmond Ridder there.
Yeah.
Well-
Quite a few of these out there. As you get older in the trades, like they get shittier.
Right,
It's just
right.
Like but those are ones that happened within the last 2 days, like all of them.
Right. Okay.
So I got 44 trades here within the last week of Puka Nacua. And it's kind of like that where you said, I don't know if people will get a first officially for him, but geez, some of these, like, Eric, if I told you it was Josh Downs and a 26 first for Puka Nacua, where are you at?
I think I'd probably take the first and Downs, but I just hate trading for 26 first. Like, the league could be dead by then. Like, I'd want a 24 if I'm going to do it, you know.
Well, it's a good thing. If it's a South Harmon league, you're fine.
Right.
It'll be around forever.
Right. I
You
get
could
it.
trade for 29 first if you want. We'll still be around.
I want to bring in just a counterpoint on Puka, and that is, like, I've been pretty staunchly on, like, listen, this is you're just the value ascension so much I want to cash out, right? And I think that there's just a process in that makes sense, and we have to acknowledge. And like, you basically draft Puka in the 4th round, right? And you're gonna get a first right now, so you're like, all right, that's just cash money made, right? You do enough of that over time, you're probably gonna win out. But I think we need to acknowledge, like, at least for myself, I'll speak for me in that, like, I'm starting to acknowledge, at least with this kid, that we may have to realize that he could be different. Like, there are enigmas and there are things that you have to break process for. And I just want to talk about for the fact that, like, yes, there's all kinds of scenarios, right? He could end up having any one of these games where he doesn't get this crazy target load, and, Cooper Kupp's going to come back at some point, we expect. But just understand, okay, right now, what we say is the wide receiver 1 in Dynasty. Like, he is both young and a god, we basically say, right? Like, people literally, the water that he walks on is like what people, they cream over Justin Jefferson. You cannot acquire Justin Jefferson probably in 80% of your leagues. Like, you can't do it. You cannot trade for this guy. He's out-targeted him by 10 in 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
25 to 35. Now that's not even acknowledging this is a rookie. Go back and look at, for just an idea, targets in their rookie season in NFL history. Last year, Garrett Wilson had 147. Now there's an extra game baked into that, right? Anquan Bolden 165, Kelvin Benjamin 145. Guys, right now he's on pace for 280 targets. Okay, it's not even just that, guys. What I'm trying to explain is that we have to start, I think, acknowledging Puka Nacua, at least from 2 weeks in, that what we're seeing is nothing like we've ever seen before. So part of talking about this is so hard is, like, I can use all my priors, but that's not this. Like, this is something, whatever this is different. Now, whether you cash out or not, I don't think it's a bad play if you want to cash out for a first. I'm not telling you that's not the case, but I think we have to acknowledge with him, this is something that we've never seen before and may never ever see again. A guy that comes in and just absolutely dominates targets for 2 games and actually does well. It's not like he's just getting force-fed targets. This guy's getting open, getting the ball. It makes me struggle a little bit with evaluating just saying cash out, because it's not like even with Amon-Ra, where with Amon-Ra, like, we kind of like the player. We didn't like the draft capital and the combine numbers for what we struggled with, right? This is like it. If this, I just want to make sure people understand, if this was to continue, even not even to this degree, but to 80% of this, wide receiver 20 is low.
But, if my aunt had a penis, she'd be my uncle.
Of course, but guess what? If this is destroying anything we've ever seen before, it's more like that if your aunt actually had a penis. It is more like that than anything else we've ever seen. Because that's what this is. Let's at least acknowledge it, man. This is crazy what he's doing.
So, are you buying for a second and another second, or a second?
I'm buying for 2 seconds, yes.
Okay, so like a second and Cortland Sutton.
That maybe in best ball leagues for me, I probably wouldn't because that's not the way I want to purchase players in general.
Okay.
I don't want to tier up. But in a lineup league, maybe I probably wouldn't do it because I kind of like Sutton. I'm more of a defender of Sutton than others.
A second and Elijah Moore.
Lineup, gosh, that's tough. Lineup, I think I would maybe consider. I don't want to spend that personally, but I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy to send that.
Would you guys offer Quentin Johnston for him straight up?
No.
I don't think I would do that. Just because I think Quentin Johnson is tied to Herbert and eventually is going to get a lot of the workload. I wouldn't do it personally, but like that's where,
Yeah, things are going to change when Cup comes back here in a week or two. I think he has overtaken like Van Jefferson and Atwell. Like he's definitely above those guys by far. Well, I know that, but I'm just saying like when the season started, it was Van Jefferson, then probably Nakua was second. But when Cup comes back, I think it's going to be Nakua over Van Jefferson now. And then, obviously Cup's going to get his. But it's going to be interesting to see how it works out there with Nakua kind of when Cup comes back. But from what I was listening to, I forget which podcast it was, but Nakua's kind of playing the Robert Woods role that when he was with the Rams, he's kind of doing the same thing. And we saw the years that Robert Woods had in this offense. So I don't think it's crazy for Nakua to keep putting this kind of stuff up. So in some of my leagues where I do need a receiver, I might go make those kind of offers.
That's what I'm saying because it's polarizing discussion because one, the role he's playing now, the target load is not going to be the same, obviously, if Cooper Kupp's healthy and playing his role. But if he's playing the Robert Woods role, there's a scenario where he still is getting 8-10 targets a game when Cooper Kupp returns. That's not like wish casting, right? I mean, we have to acknowledge this guy has put up over 100 yards and double-digit catches in his first 2 games as a NFL player. Forget who's on the field anywhere. Name me the guys that have done that.
And Quambold.
There you go. I mean, I'm just saying that, I don't know, but there could be more. I don't think there's that many, though. My point is,
it's not very many.
Double-digit catches, over 100 yards in their first 2 games. Forget draft capital. I'm saying right now, one thing I have to do a better job of, I'm trying to acknowledge here, is also saying this is different than anything else, and I need to detach the process that I put every other thing into because it's not that. I think this is one of those scenarios where we have to acknowledge what he's done in 2 games is different. It's just different than anything we've ever seen. So to try to say this is like this or like that is dangerous territory because it's not.
Yeah, I can't evaluate him as the 3rd or 4th round draft pick that I picked him as. He's different than that. He's way above that. If we redrafted rookie drafts right now, he's going in the 1st round.
Exactly. That's correct.
So you got to kind of value him there. That's kind of why I brought up the Quentin Johnson question. If we had a rookie draft right now, who are you taking? Would you take Johnston or Puka? And if you choose Puka, you might be able to offer that trade. Honestly, I think the person that has Nakua might want Johnston plus something.
They very well could. I mean, I probably still am taking Johnson ahead of Puka, but at the same time, to the point you're making, I bet you'd have some split decisions across your league if you just asked. If you just took a poll on Twitter, I bet you'd have a interesting one. If you had, it'd be interesting to see trades. I don't think anyone's done 1-for-1s on those, but
ask Scott Connor. This is you, the Twitter poll master.
Polls, yeah, man. I'm speaking to
it up.
I might actually go send some offers out right now of my Puka Nakua for QJ.
There you go. I think you could maybe get it done. Honestly,
it doesn't sound like a bad idea.
The other thing too is admittedly I don't have a lot of Puka, so I have 3 shares.
Yeah, same.
And I'm what do I do here? Because I don't have a ton of exposure.
I might try and go buy him on some contenders where I know my second is going to be the 208, the 212, and I know my second's going to be low, and see if I can trade that second and maybe another receiver and try and get him. Do something like that. I'm not trying to trade a DeVonta Smith for him or anything, but if I can, like guys I mentioned earlier, Sutton, Elijah Moore, people like that, kind of look down this list. Gabe Davis, I don't think anybody's doing Rashee Rice or Mingo right now. Jaden Reed, maybe. Jaden Reed's got some hype. If I could trade, like, would you do DeAndre Hopkins in a second for Nakua?
I'd rather have Hopkins in the second.
Hopkins in a second. Okay.
I would trade Hopkins straight up for Nakua. I don't think I'd attach the second though.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, that was just another one I wanted to bring up.
I got 5 shares of Puka Nakua, all in best ball leagues. So let's see. We'll keep talking, but I'm gonna send out 5 offers right now for QJ.
I was gonna say America's game. This is going to turn into Mike liquidating because I know how he does it. They're gonna be gone. All 5 will be gone.
I didn't know he was this hot. I didn't know he was this hot.
Oh yeah, he's way up there on that list. Next one I wanted to bring up is a guy who just came off his career game. Basically, he's at RB13 right now, above Javonte Williams, Derrick Henry, Swift, Brian Robinson, Kyron, Damian Pierce, Aaron Jones, all those guys I mentioned before, and that's James Cook. Now I don't have a lot of James Cook at all, but I'm kind of. How are you guys feeling about James Cook at RB13? Are you willing to just sell him or trade for him?
Mike, the floor is yours, buddy. This was someone he was defending a lot last year, so he probably has the most exposure, I'd imagine.
I do. Okay. I got a shit ton of James Cook just from where I took him at last year. I love it. I love the fact that he's getting the role. Now, the only thing that is a little bit concerning, right? The only let's pump the brakes just a second on James Cook thing, is the passing down usage is concerning. Right, this is a guy that you thought was just going to immediately be that,
and nothing at the goal line. It's been Latavius and Damian both games,
which we kind of knew that was going to happen, right? But the fact that he also ain't really getting the passing down usage, and Damian Harris is in there, who everybody shit on for his pass catching ability. Latavius Murray's serviceable in the pass catching role, but I would have thought James Cook would have been more of a weapon in there, but. The biggest selling point about James Cook was the explosiveness and the fact he was tied to a Buffalo offense. And when they got rid of Devin Singletary, who ate so much of that work last year, and we had concerns setting up. For me, I had to kind of eat some James Cook shit during the offseason. But to actually see it play out, right, I'm doing a little bit of a victory lap here. And yes, I would still buy into more James Cook because the touchdowns. I would assume once their offense coordinator, Ken Dorsey, gets his head out of his ass, he'll realize that maybe on third downs you put James Cook in a little bit more. Now, maybe that's a pass protection thing, which Adam knows I got this fucking hate for offense coordinators who think pass protection's a big fucking deal for a running back. No, run them in a pattern. Split them out wide. I don't give a shit. Stop leaving them in. Max protects for pussies. I'm putting that on a shirt. Who cares? But to see him this high already, it is a little bit of a signal. It's always going to be, even for guys that I like, right? This is where you try to separate the love for the player versus actual dynasty process. Now, if you can get RB1 prices, the same thing the Rhinos going for, the same thing you're getting Derrick Henry going for, to be completely honest with you guys, I'll probably just cash out or pivot. If you can do a little bit of a down tier and get a Brian Robinson and DeAndre Swift plus a second or something like that for James Cook, I think that's probably the play to go. But I think it's kind of well deserved to also see him up in this upper echelon and above some other dynasty running backs that don't have a lot of the things that James Cook has going for him.
How about you, Adam? What are you looking to do with James Cook?
Well, I don't have much of them. I got rid of a lot of them. Yeah, or just didn't draft them. So, I'd say this: I'm pumping the brakes on RB13, and I won't pay that price for him. Now, Mike made a lot of good points. I think the passing down usage for me, I shouldn't say the usage, just the opportunity. I thought this guy was going to be featured as a passing weapon. I think that, I'm worried for this guy getting a bunch of work that's inefficient touches. And not that that's not exciting to see him get more work, but, I think he's not going to get goal line touches very often. And I think that's I was excited for him to have, a ton of this PPR work. So I'm a little concerned, honestly. If he's going to go that high at price and he's getting the usage he's getting, I think James Cook at this point, like, you're already winning from what you thought he was going to be going into the year. If I had shares, I'd probably be actually looking to try to like down tier in a way, like see if I can get a running back that I still kind of want on my teams and pick up a pick type thing. Because I think those are type of moves that in best ball, especially Eric, that I want to make. See if I can get 2-for-1s for this James Cook share.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I'm kind of the same with you. I saw RB13 and I'm not pumping the brakes. I'm stomping on those motherfuckers and I'm fucking tires are smoking and everything. I'm at a full stop. I probably got bald spots on all 4 tires. Gonna need to pull in for a pit stop and get all 4 new tires on that car. Yeah, RB13 is a little wild for me, especially with some of these names that are above him, man. And like Mike said, with his passing game work not as being used as much right now, where we thought he was going to be, and he's not. Just because of his pass protection issues, I'm guessing, with Latavius and Damian Harris being a little bit, or pass blockers being out there right now, and then not getting goal line work, you're just getting a bunch of empty yards. Like, now I know he's gotten some touchdowns this year and stuff like that, and that's great, but man, I don't know how long that can sustain. So if I can send off James Cook, like you said, get Brian Robinson, if I can get Kyron Williams, tear down, get Damian Pierce, I think I'd be willing to do that and see if I can get a piece back. So if I have James Cook shares, that's personally what I would like to do, and kind of cash out at this way inflated high price right now.
How the fuck is this possible, too? 3 of the leagues I got Puka Nacua in. Guess who's got QJ?
Interesting.
I know.
How?
I know.
How?
I know exactly
The
who
first
he has.
fucking 3 I went to, Adam, I'm like, shit. 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 No. So I don't think those are getting.
I'll tell you what, man. You want to send me your Puka? Just make it an appropriate plus, and we'll get a deal done.
Oh, I'm adding a plus onto the QJ side. What are you giving me, a 3rd? I love it. We can't even get live trades done because Adam's out here hoarding all the QJ while I hoard all the Puka, apparently.
Well, no. So I actually I'm curious if you had any further thoughts on James Cook here, Mike.
No, I just there's some concerning things, but I'm kind of glad to see where he is. I do like the James Cook, but you guys, we touched on the point. Like, I got to get over the B-Rob hate, and I think I've turned a new leaf. But if I get B-Rob in a second, just about anywhere for James Cook, you just do it. You take the tear down and you move on.
There you go. Look at Iowa Michael making strides in life, man. That's a big. I like that out of you. Look at that,
me go.
Eric. I don't want to hijack this show. I kind of wanted to get back to Puka. Just one thing, like do a highlight real quick of like I'm just going to go 1-for-1 and tell me you guys who you want on this. All right. So I'm going to start here. We'll just go 1-for-1 players, right? Puka or this player, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Ridley.
Keenan Allen.
Puka.
Contender, I want Keenan Allen.
Still taking Puka. Contender, not contender.
Now, Mike, you were saying contender, so you're saying, but if you aren't a contender, you want Puka?
Yeah, I'll roll the dice a little bit on dynasty value for Puka because we know Keenan don't have it. He ain't going up ever.
Nuke Hopkins.
Same
Nakua.
thing. Same answer for me.
So you'll stay.
I'll take Nuke.
Okay. Mike Evans. Same thing for you and Eric.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So are you saying on a contender you want Evans, or are you saying you just want Puka both times?
Yeah, I think I'll take Puka in any of the leagues. Yeah.
Okay. Mike Williams.
Mike Williams for me.
Over Puka? Okay.
Yep. Even though Keep Trade Cut has Mike Williams so far down, which I don't get it, but Mike Williams is eventually going to take over there as the number 1 receiver there this year and have some big games. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
One thing I love about this exercise is like we find out that Eric
insert.
has Mike Williams ahead of Keenan Allen, right?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. Who you got? Mike Williams or Puka?
Oh, Puka. No
Okay.
question. No
All right,
thanks on
same.
Mike Williams. Thank
Okay. George Pickens.
Pickens.
Yeah, probably Pickens, but it's close.
Okay. Christian Kirk.
Kirk.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I still go Kirk, but that's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Okay. What about Devontae Adams? I'm imagining it's Adams. I'm just
Yeah.
trust the process. With
Yeah,
the
I'm going
questions
with
here.
Adams still. Yep.
Okay, Debo Samuel.
Debo.
All right, Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers.
Hollywood Brown.
Puka. I'm just not a Hollywood fan. I've
not
never
either.
been.
Mike is kind of a stan now, but he's not sure.
Give me Hollywood. Laser eyes.
Okay.
I did not expect that at all.
Please come back, Kyler.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh,
Puka.
Nakua by 100 miles.
All right, Jaden Reed.
Nakua.
Yeah, give me Puka, but this one's close.
All right, Dotson.
Dotson.
Probably Dotson, but that's close for me.
All right. So I just gave you a whole bunch of people. I'm gonna go one more. Cortland Sutton. You guys are taking Puka, right?
I'll take Puka there.
Yeah.
All right. So I went down this list. Now, every person that I just asked you about, Puka Nakua in one game had more targets than they've had for the season. Now I know that's only two games, but like to give you an idea of like, if we said Puka's targets come down and they were slated in half, he's still ahead of these guys in targets. Like even with Cooper Kupp comes and takes a shit ton. Now, the reason I'm also saying that is a lot of those guys have earned insane amount of targets in the NFL. Like that's showing you how much of a target focus this guy's gotten and still thrived in that role. All those players though that I just named, there's a couple that aren't really close on keep trade cut, but like these are probably decisions 1-for-1 that I bet you if you're just doing a 1-for-1 trade, like there's people discussing them. I'm not saying like I don't think Ridley for him is happening very often. There's a couple here, not Adams for Puka is probably not happening very often, right? Like I acknowledge that, but a lot of those I think are 1-for-1 trades that as Puka hype continues to soar, you'll probably see happening, like discussion wise. So I thought it was interesting to just walk through that with people.
So does that mean because he's got like 37 times more targets than QJ, you're gonna take that trade?
No, it does not.
just check it.
It's not. But
take it to
when you send the right plus, I mean, we can make a talk happen. You know.
I'll give you $1 in fab, buddy.
So here's
Hey,
a
make that
little.
work. I like $1 in fab.
Here's a little breaking news right now that's just breaking as we're going over.
Okay.
The Bears defensive coordinator just resigned. I guess the FBI is involved and raided maybe the Bears office and this guy's home. Supposedly it's for child porn.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So that's a little interesting. And the ones that informed him was Charles Peanut Tillman, who now is an FBI agent.
Wow. That's wild.
Wait, Peanut Tillman's an FBI agent?
Yep.
I heard about that too. Yeah.
No shit.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And he just resigned this morning, the defensive coordinator. So obviously it's something big. From what somebody is saying, it might be a defensive coordinator and another coach on the team or staff member or something. So, yeah, pretty crazy stuff breaking here as we're live on the podcast on Wednesday afternoon.
That's interesting. Very, very interesting.
Eric, where are you, real quick, on Puka Nakua and Quentin Johnson? Which side do you want?
I think I go Puka. Honestly, I was never a big Quentin Johnson fan. I like the landing spot a lot, but he can't even outbeat Josh Palmer. Like Josh Palmer has been outplaying him since training camp. Like that kind of scares me a little bit, to be honest.
I have 3, and Mike has 3 Pukas. I threw Quentin Johnson, so I just took one of his trades in one of the leagues just for. I think also sometimes here, I personally want Quentin Johnson. I know that, but I have way more exposure. So that was a diversification trade, honestly.
That makes sense too.
I
Portfolio
don't think
works.
I have any Quentin Johnston. That's just I wasn't a big fan of his. So
The TCU helmet, did you in? You're like, nah, not again.
no, because I had a big hard on for Kendre Miller in the TCU helmet. So
Nah, I mean, TCU helmet for a wide receiver.
for a wide receiver.
You look at it.
Eric
you
had a
see
horn
Jalen
frog
right
all over Kendre Miller, man. He had a huge horn frog.
We should. We're about to see it this week, man. How do you
Let's
feel,
hope.
Eric? How do you feel about this week, right? Kendre's going to be back. Sounds like he's playing. No Jamal Williams. This hammy. Not that Jamal Williams was fucking good. and we know Tony Jones definitely ain't good. Like,
Yeah, and it's in Green Bay for Green Bay's home opener. So we'll see. I'm excited to see the opportunity. At least he should have full go at it. Kamara will be back next week, so let's see it. 1 week of Kendre Miller, because I kind of laughed at all the people that blew all their fab on Tony Jones Jr., who had 2 random-ass touchdowns.
and always been bad.
Yeah, I mean, I touted him a couple years ago in preseason when he actually looked good and made a name for himself, but he's never done anything in the NFL until Monday night, so...
Yeah.
I'm excited. There's gonna be a couple leagues. There's gonna be a couple leagues. I'm firing Kendre up and starting lineup this week.
I have him in a lot of best ball that we did over the summer.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Kendre. So I got, I'll take what he gets me in best ball. Hopefully it's a good game. Starting him in lineup the first week, I'd have to have some injuries. Like I would have had to have had, a Barkley or a Chubb that's going to be missing or something. So we'll see.
Well, I got a couple.
Can I one up you guys? Yeah. I started Kendre last week out of necessity, and even though he wasn't going to play, well, I didn't know that he wasn't questionable. So I had a Cam Akers pivot, and every one of my running backs that was playing was a 1 o'clock slate, other than Kendre Miller.
That's the best you could do.
Should we?
So
should we talk
to
about this Sunday start sit show, or how about how you guys loved Cam Akers starting him last week? And then
I do.
5 minutes before the games, hey guys, he's getting deactivated today.
I know, and I said this on Start Sit. I said I think Eric has like everybody. If everybody had a voodoo doll, right, and they can kind of control and just mess with one player's career, Eric has. It's Cam Akers. Immediately after hanging up on our call, immediately
done. The
kid's not playing. This is after him coming for his throat week 1. Now he's coming week 2. You know what? I'm gonna make it easy for you guys. He's not playing today. That was crazy to me.
Yeah, it's not that I have like anything against him. It's just the writing's been on the wall. Like he just hasn't been good.
The writing hasn't been on the wall going on in the back of last year, though. That's the only thing.
Well, I mean, if you get benched for a month or whatever away from the team because he has attitude problems or whatever it is, like we don't know what the issue is, then they come back because out of basically necessity, they kind of needed him back, and hopefully things would change on his last thing. And then, yeah, he had a great couple of games last year to end the season, had a couple 100-yard games. Awesome. I was happy for him, but then he just goes right back to this. It sounds like he was pouting again that Kyron's playing over him. So
yeah, I didn't even know any about that though until I didn't even realize he was pouting about that. Now it made sense when they said he's not playing, but I didn't hear any rumblings of that until he was.
I didn't either. No, I just thought, okay, he's going to be out there. Like his week 1, 22 for 29 had me kind of worried. Like, ugh,
for sure.
Like, yeah, that's not a great stat line, but. And Kyron outplayed him in that game, too.
Well, I was talking to Mike about this. Was that on yesterday's? 4D chess we did yesterday. So I was talking with him about this, and I think you'll catch this on 4D, too. But the thing I'll say is, with him, this part was very interesting for me about Cam Akers. He was never – McVay wants to play, and he's an offensive mind, right? And this is where Mike was talking about, I don't like this guys that have to worry about pass pro. He does not trust Cam Akers in pass pro, and I think for Sean McVay, it makes him feel like he's got to tell. So if you think about that, right, when Cam Akers is out there, they want to run the football. They don't want to pass. And to Mike's point, if you're not going to run him in a route, he's a liability in pass pro.
Right.
So if you think, Mike, like he had 22 carries, Eric, on 35% of snaps. Like that literally means when he's in there on those 35% of snaps, we're handing the ball to Cam Akers. Like how much more of a tell is there than that? Like you can't do that, and that's I think where the problem has come between McVay and him. And I don't think he trusts him in pass pro. I don't know if he doesn't want to work at it or what it is, but I think that is a massive part of their beef between the two.
Max protects for pussies.
Oh man! All right, well that's kind of who I wanted to kind of go over today. Some of these hot names and what we're trading them for, what you can trade for them. I'm sure we're going to do this, every couple of episodes and kind of just go through some names and talk about our strategies on what we're doing with them, trading and selling. So this is a good little exercise for everybody, I think.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely, man. I love it.
I liked it. And I got an extra QJ share out of it.
Oh, did you
I
already
got-
make a trade? Nice.
Yeah, we made the trade on air.
Nice.
By the way, I made 2 trades on America Game Air. So, you know,
You have to be on here more often then.
yeah,
Well,
you know.
it's crazy too that we talked about it, right? We were talking about Nick Chubb and what we'd sell him for. I got an offer. You know, people aren't listening to this live, but I got an offer for Nick Chubb, Adam, and somebody tried to get me to pay a second round pick. And I don't even know what the fuck the other piece was. It was some running back. I gotta look this up again. Oh, Damian Harrison, a second round pick in a best ball league for Nick Chubb. Like, I'm out here saying sell him for fucking anything.
Right.
Somebody's trying to get Damian Harrison a second out of me for Nick Chubb. Good luck.
Yeah. Good luck.
I like that too. I had
That's
to
the old Morgan Freeman. Good luck.
Good luck.
yeah, I had I had to reveal, you know, who I was to somebody in DMs that this person in one of my leagues, I'm not going to name the name. I don't actually have displeasure for them. They hit me with these offers that like, you obviously know nothing about the way I play the game. He's take over an orphan in one of these leagues I'm in.
I met T-Rock too.
Yeah, no, T-Rock is, well, he could take over an orphan. T-Rock's awesome. That would be great if this was from him. Unfortunately, it isn't. But the offer he sends me is like, he's wanting me to pay, it was either a third or a second for JK. And I declined it. And actually, before I could decline it, he said he took it away because he remembers I hate JK. And I'm just thinking, like, dude, that was because I didn't want JK in another trade offer he was trying to give him to me. And I'm like, man, you don't know anything about me. So I'm like, listen, just so you know, like, I literally just today dropped a piece of content where I said sell him for any third. So if you think this is about you, understand this is like, I'm not just bullshitting. You do content, blah, blah, blah. And I said it to him, like, listen, this ain't got nothing to do with you, but I literally just said today, don't fucking do this. I want the opposite end of that. So I'm not just playing games with you here, you know?
I'm not gonna go out here and buy him after I just told everybody to sell him. For
Right.
a third.
I literally just told everyone this is what I'm doing. Not that. The opposite.
And just to update the breaking news from earlier, Hallis Hall did not get raided. It was just the guy's home. So
Just
Okay.
But I see people sticking their foot in their mouth on Twitter already. Like,
of course, yeah.
they got no idea like what the hell's going on, but they gotta be funny and be the first one to be funny about it. And it's like, this is gonna look real bad when all the details come out. Just so you know.
Right.
Like, I almost want to comment on it. Like, you still got time to delete this. You still got time to delete this.
Still got time.
Oh no.
Oh man. All right, so we ready to play America's favorite game before we get out of here for the week?
Kind of fucking question
Always,
is that?
man.
All
I'm
right.
ready to play America's favorite game every time.
This one I think will be good for both of you because I know you both have certain things. So, what is your favorite piece of memorabilia that you own?
Ooh.
Okay. This is a question that I have on the question.
Okay.
Does it memorabilia, is that just like, does it have to be something that's, you know,
Either something
actual-
you got in person, something you bought. So if like you bought, you know, a helmet off of eBay or something that's signed, anything that you own, don't matter if you bought it or you got it personally. If you got a good story to go with it, either or.
all right. And there you go. Mike, I know mine. Mike knows mine.
Go ahead. I'm
Nail
grabbing
it. Start us off.
Oh, are you? Okay, well, here. I got mine right here, too. So
Okay. All right. We're gonna see it. If you're watching the YouTube live, you'll be seeing what Mike and Adam are gonna show you, and I could probably do it as well.
Mike grabbed one, too. Mike, you go first. Look how happy he is, man. I got to let Mike go first. Oh, nice. The Zay Flowers.
Let's go, baby.
Zay Flowers. There it is, Eric. Zay Flowers signed helmet.
This is
Okay.
a shout out to our patron, Tom. Right. So Tom actually won this in our YouTube
It was a giveaway. Yeah.
But he's like, listen, I live in the far reaches of Canada, which is basically the North Pole. So he goes, instead of you paying $75 to ship it, he goes, it's my gift to you. You just keep it. And big shout out to Tom. Zay Flowers was a prospect that I really liked coming in. And, worried about the whole height thing. Like, is this going to be another Rondell Moore? But now that I see that he's, 10 times Rondell Moore, getting usage, Zay Flowers helmet's becoming number one, baby. Let's go.
All right. Go ahead, Adam.
All right, so I got two. One is more personal. So I was in 7th going into 8th grade in that summertime. This was before they called it the, King James tournament. They had back in the day the Soul and Cage Classic, Eric, which is a big AAU tournament. So we're in the Soul and Cage Classic, and we're playing at Barberton, the old Barberton High School, which is now the middle school. And, we're playing, and all of a sudden, man, in this game, I mean, I'm talking about the stands are packed, Eric. Like, it is swole in there. Second half comes around, and now, like, there's standing room only. So everybody's standing, like, we're playing AAU game, 7th grade with Buckeye Lube, this team. And as the game's going on, like, we're just hyped. We're thinking these people are here for us. We're so clueless on the world. Well, as our game is off and the new teams come on to warm up, you just see, like, there's nowhere to even go. Luckily, my parents had it already kind of saved a seat up there for me. And the Shooting Stars are warming up. That's basically LeBron's AAU team. And he plays for he played for St. V. So they're playing the game after us, and he's going into his senior year. And these guys just are putting on a show and going crazy. They're up by like 15 before the first wave of subs comes in. So they give, Drew Joyce, Romeo, LeBron, they all come out in like one wave. And LeBron's over there on the sideline during a dead ball. He's kind of just screaming over to his mom, Mom, I need a water. And, his mom's over there, Gloria. She's kind of a little wild card if you're not from their area, don't know. She's a wild card. She just screams back and louder too. I ain't got no water. Okay, you got to go get a water. So I'm over there like, all the way up in the stands on the other side, like looking in my bag. I got a extra Deja Blue water in there, right? So I'm like, you know what, man, I'm going to go run it over to this dude. I'll run it down to him. So here I come down the stairs, little 7th grade kid, go hand him the Deja Blue water. He's just like, hey, thanks, man. Probably didn't, from that moment on, probably didn't think nothing of it. But they play, they go on, they kill it, win the game. And then afterwards, before the next game comes on, the court's just a mess because people are trying to mob him and talk to him, get his autograph and all that. He remembered I gave him the water for long enough, man, because these are the shoes I'm wearing, my AIs, the old ones. And, he put a little ink to it. You see that? It's a pretty recognizable smudge. You're not going to not get LeBron James autograph, right? So got it on those shoes. That was a cool story. Now, I'm going to give you that's definitely my favorite one, but I'll give you one more, which Mike got me for my birthday.
All right. If you're watching on YouTube, Adam's going to grab it here real quick.
Yeah, it makes for great radio.
Hopefully his knee doesn't snap on the way over.
Yeah, look at that neck shot, baby.
Yeah, that is sweet. I like that.
That was.
Try not to snap your knee on the way over there, Adam.
Please don't. Yeah, we don't want no more.
Yeah, that's the Nick Chubb jersey. So had to get that one there. But
nice.
Unfortunately, the Nick Chubb came with a little bit of a down. I gave you some Nick Chubb jersey at the end of the thumbnail of Nick Chubb and the crying emoji because it was a rough injury. But
yeah, you missed it when you had the headset off. I said, don't try and snap your knee on the way over.
Oh, no. Luckily, I'm okay for now. But all
right. Well, you can kind of see mine in the background here. It's
nice.
A little Donovan McNabb signed full-size helmet that I got off of the old eBay. So got one of those. I got a mini helmet signed by him too. That was my all-time favorite player. So got him. I've had a couple other cool ones too. I've had like when I've been to like IndyCar races and stuff. I've gotten some autographs from like Mario Andretti, Rick Mears, people like that. But I got the one that I went to the Indy 500 in 2013 or 14, forget which year. But that year we went to a different race in Ohio that year, and Tony Kanaan was the one who won the Indy 500 that year. So I got him to actually sign the ticket that I went to and saw him win that Indy 500. So that's another one of my cool ones that I got.
That's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah, for sure. I got all kinds of different ones. But yeah, those are just some of my favorite ones. I'm sure we can talk about some more another time. But
absolutely,
yeah, well, I tried to sell my soul to the devil at the expo to get a piece of memorabilia. It didn't work, but
yeah, was it a Jalen Hurts helmet or something? Or
yeah, they're giving that baby away right next to our booth in a camouflage Jalen Hurts full-size helmet. The thing looks so ridiculously good.
Nice.
I was like, hey buddy, how much you want for that?
He was like, nah, I can't do it.
I never loved those like jerseys or helmets or whatever that they don't actually wear, like those multicolored ones, or like a chrome helmet or something like that. I don't know. I just never was a fan of like, they're never gonna wear it. So it's like,
Well, actually, you know what? That's a good discussion too. What's your take? And is there a correlation, the white helmets for the Browns and Nick Chubb's injury happening on the debut?
no, I mean they're gonna actually wear them, and they used to wear them back in the 50s and 60s. So I was fine with that. It was just something different. But like, I'm just talking like those. You ever see those?
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the ones they've never really worn.
Yeah, it's like a Vikings helmet. It's all black. It's like the matte black finish, and they got all that. Like, yeah, they're never wearing that. So it's like, I don't know. I just never been like a fan of those ones.
Yeah, like the alternate jerseys they never worn either too. Same idea. Yeah, I gotcha.
Right. Yeah, I've had a couple alternate jerseys that I liked that I don't think teams ever really wore, but it is what it is. Like I had like I don't even know if they ever wore it, but I had in high school, I had an authentic gold Reggie Bush jersey. It was fucking sweet, but I don't think they ever wore the gold jerseys.
I'm with you. I had a black Breece Hall jersey that was awesome. That was a Chiefs one, but I'm pretty sure they never wore that one either.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure also that one was not authentic. Because,
what are we laughing at here, Mike?
I can't say this shit.
Oh, I can't say it. Okay.
I can't
say this.
This is an after recording.
Oh, okay, one of those. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys for joining us. Just want to shout out to Fizzle. Fizzle is running the South Harmon Twitter account, so if you guys haven't checked that out yet, make sure you check that out at South Harmon FF. Fizzle's knocking it out the park right now, with all kinds of content, posting our weekly schedules, posting highlights, posting questions for you. So a good place to interact with all the other members. And then follow me on Twitter at Eric Vanek NFL. And then you can follow the show at America's Game Pod as well. Tuesday mornings, I got the waiver wire show dropping for you guys as well. I've gotten a lot of nice comments on that, it's one of the best waiver shows out there. I really appreciate hearing that. Put a lot of work into it. And it's more for, the deeper dynasty degenerates, waiver wires. Like, I'm not telling you, hey, pick up Zay Flowers this week. He's owned everywhere. We don't need that. We need to know, hey, pick up a Josh Reynolds. Pick up a Keyshawn Vaughn because Chase Edmonds is out. Stuff like that. These really deep ones that you need to learn about. That's kind of what this waiver wire show is dedicated to. So make sure you guys check that out. And then on Sundays, it's us three right here. Start Sit Show on YouTube live. South Harmon FF. Follow that on YouTube as well. We're doing it every Sunday live for you guys, doing Start Sit questions. Had a lot of fun last week. A lot of Cam Akers questions.
They had a lot of fun at my expense last week. Eric was, killed that Cam Akers thing. Mike, every time I went against Mike, I lost. So maybe week 3 I'll catch some dubs. But week 2 was a bunch of L's.
Shades on, man. I had the shades.
It was. He went prime on it. Right after prime's whole deal.
Pretty much. Yep. So. But no, I appreciate everybody. You guys got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
That's it, man.
All right here, man.
You do a fantastic job every single week. Plug the shit out of it. And like Eric said, just go follow Fizzle, man. Running the South Harmon account. So damn good.
Hell yeah.
People are missing out if you ain't following that one. Because it's not just show posting. Fizzle out here asking the tough questions, posting awesome highlights. He's doing a great job.
Absolutely. And then the podcast feed, South Harmon Dynasty Football. Every day it seems like we got something coming out on there. 4D Chess is on there, America's Game, the Waiver Wire Show. Waiver Wire Show is a podcast only. I don't do it on the video. But yeah, make sure you guys check all that stuff out. Check out the YouTube videos. Adam's been absolutely killing it with production-wise. Adam does a great job with that, so make sure you guys follow it on YouTube as well. We got you from Twitter and YouTube, so
yeah, man, we got it all covered here at South Harmon.
Hell yeah. So, all right, guys, until next week, we will see you later. Have a good one.
Peace.